This is the Epomaker and Aula F75 keyboard. I was interested in this guy for a few different reasons. First, it is a 75% keyboard, which is my personal favorite size. Second, it has a gasket structure and hot swap functionality, which means it should sound and feel sublime. Third, it has three-way connectivity, which includes USB-C, 2.4 GHz wireless, and Bluetooth 5.0, along with Mac, Windows, and Android support. I've never heard of Android support before, so that was interesting. Last, the price. It comes in at $69.99. Aula did send this out to me for review, but that will not bias my opinion in any way, shape, or form. Starting off with the 75% keyboard layout. For those of you who don't know, that just simply means that it's missing the number pad and some of the other keys right there in the middle, but still retains the arrow keys, delete, page up, page down, and end key, along with a full F row. I like these the best when it comes to gaming, as it gives me more room to move my mouse, or when studying or doing work, I have more room to place my iPad for notes or other things that I need to refer to. Second, we have the gasket structure and hot swap functionality. This is common in custom-built keyboards, which makes typing a lot smoother, along with providing a more satisfying sound. It's more of a thunk instead of a click. Here's a quick sound test to show you what I mean. The gasket mount makes it kind of feel like you're typing on springs, giving you a bit of a bounce. I find this helps speed up my typing along with reducing fatigue. So, with the subjective points out of the way, they report it comes with 5 layers of sound and shock absorption. I usually see 2 layers of shock absorption, so getting an extra 3 layers is definitely appreciated, but I could be wrong. I'm not a huge fan, I don't follow custom keyboards a whole lot, so I might be incorrect about that. So if you're a custom keyboard enthusiast, please do educate me in the comment section below, as that will help me and the other viewers out. This does include 2 layers of Porone foam, IXPE switch pad, PET sound enhancement pad, and a bottom silicone pad. Again, I'd be lying if I knew what most of that is, as I'm not one of those who is super into the custom keyboard space. All I know is that the foam and silicone help reduce pinging and make it sound a lot better. I think this keyboard does sound great, especially when considering the price and that it is a pre-built, as usually pre-builts just don't have as much care put into them because they're mass-produced, but for this guy, I think they absolutely nailed it. The PCB and Leobog Reaper switches come pre-lubed. Again, this cuts down on noise, increases smoothness, and changes/reduces sound. The consistency between every key press is superb. It is probably my favorite typing experience that I've tried to date, which I hate to say on a sponsor review, as it makes me sound very suspect. But truly, this blew my mind on just how smooth everything feels, along with just the great sound. I prefer it over my glorious GMMK Pro with Panda switches, which I built and lubed myself, but part of that might be because the Lecker switches just feel a bit smoother than the Panda switches themselves that are a tactile switch instead of a linear switch. While that keyboard is made from metal compared to plastic, it is dramatically heavier, which makes it feel a bit more solid. As from a psychology standpoint, something that is heavier will always seem like it's better made, which is not always the correct assumption, but it's just something that our brain kind of jumps through. I've been reaching for this guy for typing, as it just feels sublime. For the price, I think this will be hard to beat, as originally I was going to compare it directly with another keyboard that was greater than $200 that had the same specs, but things didn't end up working out, so that keyboard was never sent, so that comparison will never be done. Third, we have 3-way connectivity. On the top, you have a switch where if you move it to the left, you activate 2.4 GHz wireless. It does have a little magnetic port to hold the USB-A transmitter where it won't go anywhere when traveling. I'd show it to you, but it's plugged into the computer currently. I did have a lot of regular typing and a fair amount of gaming in this mode and didn't notice any dropouts or latency, which again for the price is very surprising to me. The best part of the 2.4 gigahertz wireless is the ease of use, as you simply just plug it and play, switch to 2.4 gigahertz, and you're off to the races. You're good to go. You have full wherever you want to place your keyboard, you can place your keyboard along with having the low latency. So it's a win-win. Next, you have Bluetooth. To activate that, you just simply move the top switch to the far right. First time around, it will automatically be in pairing mode. Then you just pair it like anything else you've ever paired in your life. If you don't know how to pair a Bluetooth device at this point, I worry about you and you need to get some help. It will come up with Aula F75 5.0 keyboard, where you turn off the keyboard and then turn it back on. It will quickly reconnect to the last device, which for me took less than a second. To enter pairing mode, you simply hold the function key along with 1, 2, or 3, as it can pair up to 3 different devices at a time. For example, I had my laptop, iPhone, and iPad all paired, and then to switch between those devices, all I would have to do is just press the function and then 1, 2, or 3. Again, connection is quick, or I should say switching in that mode is quick. This worked way better than I thought it was actually going to, especially for the price, and honestly makes me quite upset at a lot of the gaming keyboards for charging a crazy price tag and not having all of these features, and when they do, they don't work as well. So that just kind of boggles my mind a little bit. Anyways, it comes with 4,000 milliamp hour battery. They don't mention particular battery life, and I'm terrible at testing battery life personally, so I can't even really give you a ballpark number, and with a quick turnaround time on this review, which was a week, I just haven't had the time to test it properly. But I'm about 30 hours more at this point with the 2.4 gigahertz at normal RGB brightness and the raindrop effect, which should be using the maximum amount of battery. Also, the reason why I'm only at 30 hours instead of more than that is because the first half of the review, I just had it plugged in with USB-C, and then I remembered, oh, it has 2.4 gigahertz wireless that I really should be testing for battery, and that was just my bad of being delayed. So that's on me. So talking about the battery life, it does seem good to me, as having RGB on will decrease battery life. Along with the brighter the RGB, the more battery life it burns. And last, 2.4 gigahertz uses more battery than Bluetooth. So if you're wanting to get the maximum battery, you'd want to minimize or turn off most of those features so that you get the longest battery life possible. And I would say in normal lighting environment, you wouldn't even need the RGB. So, or if you wanted to use this at like work or something, this looks like a very professional high-end keyboard even without the RGB. So you'd be set that way. I would have liked a better battery gauge, as they have a little light to the right of the escape key that I never really figured out what it did, as it always looked the same. So going a little bit more into this, I think there's technically 4 bars here, and 4 bars to me thinks that it's 25% for each bar. But if I've never dropped below the 75% battery life mark, then I would have never seen it go down. So what I'm thinking is that if I give this more time, that I should actually see the bar go down that way, and then that way I would actually know how much battery life is left in this, because I think the 30 hours for a 4,000 milliamp hour battery and how much energy this uses is probably way low. So I would look at some of the other keyboards that just have similar, that you could probably get a better judge of what the battery life is at. I'm talking way too long about battery life, especially since I didn't test it, so we are moving on. Last, you have USB-C, which is in the middle part of the switch and on the left side of the keyboard, and how you charge the device or use it just for the lowest latency, which is great. The thing that I like the most about the 3-way connectivity is that this can work on all of my devices. I have a lot of different peripherals, and it's nice to have a single device that I can easily just switch between all of them if I want, without even actually having to do anything with wiring. I could have my main computer be with USB-C, and then I could have say like a different computer with the 2.4 gigahertz, and then I could have like my iPad and my phone and some other device on Bluetooth, and I wouldn't have to change a single thing. I would just have to grab the keyboard itself, and that's what I love about having multiple connectivity options. Moving on to 4, overall build quality is great. My first impression when I felt it was made out of plastic and quite lightweight, and made me a bit concerned, as that was compared to the glorious GMMK Pro, as again, weight can make something feel higher or lower quality. With me saying that, just a little bit of an asterisk, the glorious GMK Pro is over there, which is why I'm pointing over there, is a solid sheet of metal, which is very, very heavy. This is not. So me comparing those things, so I don't know what the weight is for that, but I would imagine this has got to be half, makes it seem like it's crazy. But if I pick up any of my other normal gaming keyboards, this is probably twice as heavy as that. So again, it's really kind of subjective how I'm saying that. So when I say this is lightweight, it's not actually lightweight. It's just from my comparison point of view of with the GMMK Pro that it feels lightweight. With that, this thing has no flex outside of the gasket mount like it's supposed to. It feels incredible. So it feels way high quality when compared to normal peripherals that aren't made out of actual metal. So with that out of the way, I'm going to continue. That impression of this feeling kind of not high quality was definitely proven to be incorrect very quickly, as the keycaps are double shot PBT, which is great, and they look great. The font is fantastic. It's very crisp, and they just feel fantastic. They feel very high quality, but they do not have shine through letters. What I mean by that is that when you have all the lighting off, you don't actually get, like, the P doesn't actually highlight because they didn't do a translucency effect on that. So you'd have to buy different keycaps if you're wanting that to work, but it does have RGB lighting, so it goes around the edges instead. So anyways, you're smart. You know what I'm saying. That could be a deal breaker for some, but I don't think so. The stabilizers are great. I get minimal wobble with the normal keys, and that is only when I'm trying, and there's almost no wobble, if maybe even no wobble on like the space and enter and other bigger keys like that, unlike the insane wobble that I get with my glorious Panda switches. The volume rocker is the only part of the keyboard that I felt was in the price range, which isn't saying that it feels bad. It just doesn't feel fantastic. It does have a metal ring and very dedicated steps, but sometimes it feels a little bit mushy and kind of lopsided at times. The middle press feels absolutely fantastic, and it's very accurate where it always registered my movement when I was clicking through it. The switch on the top for wireless, wired, and Bluetooth is excellent. Very solid click, very easy to grip and move, and has no wobble and immediately registers. Excellent all around. The rubber feet are grippy and solid despite already being angled, as you can kind of see here, hopefully. You do get some step-up feet in 2 different degrees, which are just hardcore. I mean, you can just see and feel that snap, right? Like, it's hardcore. And also has a large rubber feet on the bottom, which again is just perfect in all the right ways. Last, with it being fully hot swappable, it means you can put about any switch you want in the sky and get your ideal feel. Or if the key does go bad, you can just swap it out and you're good to go again. It does come with 2 additional switches in case that does happen, which is always appreciated. Some other points I haven't hit: it does have 16.8 million colors of RGB with the included keycaps. They don't shine through with letters, but instead highlight around the key, which I think looked great. Overall color accuracy of the RGB is good. I've seen a lot better, and I've certainly seen a lot worse. White is not perfect white, but it is able to hit on some of the harder colors, such as orange and purple. But for the cost, it is solid, but doesn't compare to Razer or similar. They are north-facing, which some people dislike. As far as I'm aware, there is no software to allow you to individually change the RGB. But it does come with a bunch of preloaded RGB options. You can cycle through the different options by pressing the function and / key. To change the color, you press function and tab. To change the brightness, you press function and up and down. And to increase or decrease the RGB animation speed, it is function and left or right. Overall latency of the board is fantastic. Usually this part is the thing that I struggle the most with, especially on budget-oriented devices, as the firmware is usually very poor. However, they've nailed the firmware here, and it is very snappy. I was able to play games without any issues. Both wired and a 2.4 gigahertz just felt absolutely fantastic, which means this guy is going to be good for both typing and gaming. It comes with the keyboard, 2.4 gigahertz dongle, Type-C cable, keycap, and switch polar and user manual. I struggled through that, which is only in Chinese, so I had to use my phone to translate to get the instructions. So that's something that they could improve on in the future if they're selling a lot in the US market, which includes a few different things. First, this keyboard does support Mac, Windows, and Android. You access that by pressing the function and then the Q for Android, W for Windows, and E for Mac, which I think is awesome. I can confirm that this works well on Mac, as I did test it on my MacBook Air. We talked about the RGB options and the Bluetooth already, so you already know those actions. I think where you see the cost savings is there is no dedicated shortcuts for play, pause, forward, backward, or different profiles, along with different modes or macro support. So the firmware itself is upgraded in the sense that it actually has options, but it's not fully upgraded like you see with some more dedicated keyboards that have just a lot of more options. I also didn't look and see what their NKRO rollover is as well, but I would assume that it's at least 5, if not, yeah, I don't know. I didn't look. I should have looked. I apologize. Overall, this is a banger keyboard for the price that I can't recommend more, which makes me sound like a shill during a sponsored video, but sometimes a product just knocks it out of the park. And I think finding similar features that are this well done will be hard at this price point. So well done, Epomaker and Aula. I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong, by the way. I have no idea how long it will last or what the QA is for a lot of other people. If I do run into any issues, I'll make sure to mention that in the pinned comment down below. Also, feel free to ask if I haven't replied to that in a while. If you end up buying this keyboard, I would also love to hear your opinions. There is a direct link in the description that is not an affiliate link. If you like this video, leave a like. If you did not like this video, leave a dislike. And of course, hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Otherwise, I'll see you and your beautiful face on the next one. God bless and peace out.